Puerto Rico. Esta bomba yo la dedico a toda mi gente de Puerto Rico, a la familia Fontanet, allá en Cupe Alto y Lo Mejía en Vega Baja. ¡Que gocen! ¡Sí! Bomba, bomba, para siempre. Bomba, bomba está presente, aquí lo canta mi gente. Bomba, bomba, para siempre. Baila, baila y goza, mi bomba puertorriqueña. Bomba, 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 para siempre.
Compass Publishing.
Hello everybody, this is Jon Edwards at Compass Publishing, and on behalf of the whole company, I want to welcome you to our Hangout seminar. Especially I want to extend a warm welcome to everybody from the Middle East and North Africa who's joining us today. This seminar is especially for you. We arranged the time so it would suit your schedules better. Anyway, I'm going to be going through Hangout, which is one of our coursebook series for elementary students. And I'm also going to be showing you some of the digital products that we have that come along with the series that make it easier to teach, especially for online teaching. So if you have any questions during the presentation, if you want to leave your questions in the comment section, I have somebody to answer your questions in the room, so that you can ask your questions in French or in English. Okay, let's begin. So I'm going to start by going through an overview of Hangout, and along the way, I'm going to talk about some of the activities and how I teach them. Maybe you have your own ways of teaching them. That's totally fine. But I'm going to tell you how I teach them. And I'll also show you some of the digital products and some of the extra activities and extra materials that you can download from our website to make teaching Hangout very enjoyable and very easy and enjoyable for your students as well. So Hangout is a 7-level series for elementary learners. It goes from a starter level, which is very low, for students that are just learning English, starting to learn English, all the way up to level 6, which is intended for grade 6 students. And in terms of the leveling, it goes from a pre-A1 level, so where they're learning very simple vocabulary and the basic grammar structures, all the way up to early B1 level, so relatively high level of fluency. And you can also see that between the levels, there's a lot of overlap. So there's a nice smooth progression between the levels. There's a lot of review. So students that have done the starter level, they'll review a lot of that material in level 1s to give them a firm foundation for their learning. The book comes with a student book, workbook, full color workbook, teacher's guide. There's also digital practice app for students. There's also a teacher's presentation app as well. It's called an interactive whiteboard. I'll be demonstrating that a little bit later. Actually, that's one of the big strengths of this product. The interactive whiteboard has a lot of features that extend learning. It has extra activities, and you can really use it to extend the class time as well and make it more enjoyable for students. We also have a wide range of downloadable resources, so everything from word lists for each unit. We have a complete assessment pack that includes placement tests, unit tests, midterm and final tests. There's also tests that we made that use the YLE format, but they use the content from Hangout, so students can actually practice taking a YLE test. We also have worksheets for vocabulary and writing, and a full range of printable, full-color flashcards for teachers to print out and laminate and use to teach vocabulary. And there's a wide range of games that you can do with those. And we also have downloadable and printable answer keys that are separate from the teacher's guide. So if you don't want to use the teacher's guide, you can download the answer keys from our website. All of that material is available from our website, compasspub.com/hangout, and you just look do a search for the level that you're teaching. All the material is there. It's also on our digital platform, teaching platform called Classbox, which I'm going to show you later today. So just in terms of the structure of the book, each book has 9 units. It starts with a welcome unit, and the purpose of that is to introduce students to language that they're going to need for the rest of the book, for the other units. So things like classroom language, shapes, numbers, colors, these kinds of things are introduced in the welcome unit. Also things for talking about your nationality, your age, giving your name. Then there's, as I mentioned, there's 9 main units, and these are all on topics that are relevant to students' lives. So things like in the lowest level, we start with the things that you bring to school, like pencils and erasers and pens, and go to things like toys, my family, my house. And then in the higher levels, we get into things that are more, about the community and about the cities that you live in. So there's a kind of extended range of topics as you progress through the program. There's also 3 review units, which cover all of the material in the preceding 3 units. And then at the back of the book, there's an appendix with all the song lyrics and the chant lyrics, and there's all sticker pages as well. So the lower levels, they use a lot of sticker activities, and those can all be found in the back of the book. So in terms of the structure of the unit, basically each unit is built around one main structure and a kind of extended structure. So for example, if they learn present perfect statements in the first half of the unit, they'll learn present perfect yes/no questions or present perfect information questions in the second part of the unit. So there's always this kind of relationship between the 2 structures. So 2 structures, and each structure is introduced with 8 vocabulary items, and those are all kind of thematically linked. So for example, they might talk about parts of the face, parts of the body, or school things, or sports. They're all related to the same topic. So 2 sets of vocabulary are usually related closely to each other. Then we have, so 1 set of vocabulary and 1 structure is introduced first, then and it's practiced in all 4 skills with different kinds of communicative activities and drill practice. Then the second set of vocabulary and the second related structure are introduced, and again, they're practiced. And then we have a CLIL reading. The CLIL reading presents the same structures and the same vocabulary, but in the context of a school subject reading about some interesting topics. So we've chosen topics that are very high interest and engaging for students or related to their life. They're either school subject related, or we have some that are related to different cultures in the world, so they can extend their global knowledge. Then in level 1 and 2, we cover some phonics as well, also in the starter level, sorry. Starter level, level 1 and level 2, we include phonics. That doesn't cover all of the phonics sounds. There's not enough space for that. But what we did was we chose some kind of challenging sounds that certain students have difficulty with, and we focused on those. Things like R-L distinction or blends. These are the kinds of things that we talk about. And then there's a writing activity. So all the different activities, including the writing, they're all linked to the same theme. So the concept of the book is that we follow this family. They're a Canadian family, but they're moving to the United States, and they start their new life in the United States, and they start going to school, they meet their neighbors, they get to know friends. So you're the students are following their lives as they discover this their new home. And the way that we organized it was there's 3 children, and each of the levels focuses on a different child. So at the lower levels, the starter level 1, level 2, they focus on the youngest girl, the daughter. And then in the level 3, 4, they focus on the middle child, Brian. And then in level 5 and 6, they focus on Alex, the older child. So students can always sort of relate to the character that's approximately the same age as them. Excuse me just for 1 second. So I'll just walk through one unit to show you in a little bit more detail what is going on in the book, and I'll talk a little bit about how I teach it. So the first 2-page spread in the book, this is a level 2 book, by the way, is all about introducing the first structure and the first set of vocabulary. So vocabulary comes first. In the book, we introduce them with audio, so they just listen and repeat first, and then we have an activity that makes use of this large illustration. So there's a monologue where one of the characters in the illustration is talking about what's going on in the picture. And they listen and they find the elements in the elements in the picture. And then in part C, we have an activity where they're pointing to or circling the items. So these are all very simple activities that introduce the vocabulary in a more engaging way rather than just showing them with flashcards. We have the students do something with the vocabulary right away. Then on the second page, they're introduced to the structure. So the way that we decided to do that was with a song. So they listen to the song, then they sing along, and this is the way that we wanted to get them to do the repetition of the structure. Then after they've heard the structure in the song, we extract it and we show them a substitution table in part E, and they're going to make their own sentences based on the picture. So for example, in this unit, the structure is with I am wearing something, he's wearing something, she's wearing something. So it's about introducing present progressive, but in a very simple way. So they do some drill practice. And then there's a little corner at the bottom right-hand corner of the second page that says extra, but actually this is where we can do personalization. So personalization means relating the learning content to yourself. So relating the learning content to your own experience or your own ideas. So in this case, it's about what is your partner wearing or what is your classmate wearing. Sorry, some people are saying hello to me. So Osama says hello and Fatima says hello. Hi, everybody. So this is the first page of Hangout. Then we get into skills practice. So skills practice means the same structure, the same vocabulary that they've seen in the first 2 pages. They're going to see it now in the context of a listening passage, a reading passage, a speaking activity. So now we're getting them to look at the same structures and the same vocabulary contextualized. For the readings, we've given them a wide range of different formats or genres of reading. So in this case, it's SMS messages, but we also have things like emails or articles or news articles, letters, these kinds of things. So lots of different genres to expose them to the kind of the conventions of language that are related to these genres. So they do some reading, then there's usually a little activity that's related to the reading. It's a very simple comprehension activity. Then they get into something that's more communicative. So in this case, there's a speaking activity. And for the younger learners, we've done a lot of things with drawing, using stickers, solving puzzles, this kind of thing. And one thing I should point out to you about this page is that there are 2 parts. And the reason that we have 2 parts is that we want to have a preparation phase in part A, where they prepare their ideas, they get their language together first, and then in part B, they actually sit with their partner and talk about it. So having this preparation phase, we feel, is very important for learners because it makes them feel more confident about what they're going to talk about. I think another thing that you can be aware of as a teacher is that you can provide them with some scaffolding. So if you look on the page, there's not a lot of vocabulary, but that vocabulary that they learned on the first 2 pages, maybe you might want to write that up on the board. You might want to list it up on the board, and give them a sentence frame that they can use as well. So that's kind of scaffolding that you can put on the board will help lower level students, students that are a little bit weaker, to do the activity. All they have to do is refer to the whiteboard. And stronger students, they don't have to use it at all. Then when we get to the fourth and fifth pages of the unit, we're getting into the second structure, the extended structure, and also the second set of vocabulary. So in the first set of vocabulary, it was all about clothes. Now we're learning more vocabulary related to clothes. We're also learning how to ask yes/no questions with the present progressive. Mimuni asks, first, can Hangout be adapted for Cambridge exams and how? We actually have produced some sort of simulated Cambridge exams, YLE exams, using the same format as the tests, but also reviewing the content from the book. So we took the content from the book and we made it into those Cambridge tests. So they can use that to practice the format of the Cambridge tests, Cambridge exams. We also have a lot of overlap between the vocabulary and structures on the Cambridge exams and the vocabulary and structures that we've covered in Hangout. So the way that we introduce the second structure and the second set of vocabulary is with a comic. So they read the comic, they role play the story. So this is introducing both a reading activity and also some practice with conversation as well. So they do the role play, and then they do reading comprehension, very simple reading comprehension activity. Then we get into more sort of drill practice. So they're again exposed to the vocabulary and the structure. And we have a little activity there where they listen, part B on the right-hand page. This is an interesting little activity where they listen to the words and they just draw the shape that they hear. So they're practicing their shapes, and they're practicing following instructions, and they're also practicing listening for the vocabulary. So it'll say something like, draw a circle around the jeans. So this is the activity that we have to just engage them a little bit with learning vocabulary. Then there's a substitution drill where they're asking questions about clothes, and then they go into a chant and, again, personalization activity at the bottom of the page. So now they've done all the language learning, and now they're going to apply that to school subject content reading. So in this case, they've learned all about different kinds of clothes, and they're going to learn about different kinds of hats in different countries around the world. So just an interesting reading that's related to the same theme. And then they have comprehension activities. So there's one at the bottom of the second page there, and then there's more on the second page. And actually this C activity is what we call a linked skills activity. Linked skill activity means they're using both reading and listening. In this case, they read the passage, they learn the content, and then they hear other students talking about the content, and they have to say whether they're right or not. So this is what we call linked skills activity. It's very simple, but it engages two different language skills. Then we have a summary activity at the end, and then we get into phonics and writing. So the writing is kind of interesting in this book because what we decided to do was, having the students do all of the writing assignment in class takes up a lot of time, and it's not really kind of practical. So what we decided to do was have them do the preparation part in class. So that is in the book. That's the writing section that's in the book. So usually it gives them some kind of task, and it gives them an organizer where they can organize their ideas and get some help with the language. Then at home, they can refer to the back of the workbook. So in the back of the workbook, there's actually a detachable worksheet where they can actually do their writing, and I'll show you that. So this is at the back of the workbook. Each unit has its own. Mimuni asks, what if some schools do not have smartboards? That's no problem. You can teach this book without a smartboard. You can teach it on its own as just a physical book, or you can use the whiteboard, or you can also use a beam projector. There's lots of different possibilities. So we made the book so that you don't have to rely on technology. It can be taught as a simple book as well. So at the back of the workbook, there's these detachable sheets they're kind of portfolio sheets actually. So students can do a little drawing. The younger students can do a drawing, and then they can write about their drawing. And they can, on the back of the sheet, there's a checklist of all the learning points. So they can say what they learned. And then the teacher can give them a little signature or stamp to verify that. And our intention here was that the students would have something to bring home or to show their parents or to keep, to show their progress. So that's the student book. That's the way the student book looks. This is the teacher's guide. So I think especially for teachers that are going through the book for the first time, or for beginner teachers, having a really elaborate or a detailed teaching guide is really important. So that's what we tried to do. So we have detailed lesson objectives, vocabulary, structures, materials. We also have each activity in the book has detailed instructions how to do it, as well as the teacher talk already written for you. If you're using the interactive whiteboard, there's instructions for how to integrate that into the class. Each activity also has the approximate time that it will take, so you can plan your classes. There's also extra activities like warm-ups and extension activities. There's all the scripts and all the answer keys are built into the teacher's guide, so it's very useful. And you can also see the pages from the student book are embedded within the teacher's guide, and the answers are actually circled on the on that page, so you can see what the expected answers are. So I think it's a very good teacher's guide. One thing I should also mention is at the back of the teacher's guide, that's where the DVD, the CD-ROM is for the interactive whiteboard. I'll just very quickly go through. Neno asks, is there an interactive CD for students? No, there isn't. There's just one for the teachers to use in class. There's other material for the students, digital material that I'm going to show you later. So let's just go through the workbook very quickly. So all I wanted to show you here is that each two-page section in the student book is matched with a single page in the workbook. The workbook is in full color, and the activities that are in the workbook are different from the ones in the student book, so it keeps things interesting. So as I mentioned, it goes through all 4 skills. And we saw the CLIL reading, the school subject reading in the workbook. There's a parallel reading in the, we saw the one in the student book. There's a parallel reading in the workbook. So it's a similar structure, similar kind of content, but new information, new content. The one in the student book was about hats. This one is all about different kinds of shoes around the world. We also have phonics covered in the workbook. And as I mentioned, the writing section is at the back. I'm going to actually show you a little demonstration of the interactive whiteboard, just because that's an important feature that a lot of teachers don't know about. And I think it's a really big selling point, and it's going to really extend and make your classes more dynamic. So I just wanted to show you that very quickly. Just give me one moment. So each unit, this is the level 1 unit, by the way. So all of the material, each activity also has embedded audio as well, so you can hear the audio.
A.
They have
Listen and
separate
say.
activities, additional activities that are related to flashcards, extra games as well. So these flashcards are built into the IWB. And you can hear individually
businessman,
the way the word sounds. So you can use the audio to expose the vocabulary. There's also additional games, like if you wanted to, after the students learn the vocabulary, you can play a sort of a flashcard game with them. You can divide the class into 2 teams and play this kind of game like this, where you have 2 teams and they try to match the yellow cards and the blue cards, for example, like this. No, it's not right. And you get them to match them like this. And you can give them points as well. So that's a really fun way to get them to practice using the vocabulary more, but in a different way.
B.
There's
Look
also all
and
kinds
listen.
of markup tools and timers and things for, you can set a blind as well. So when you're talking, when you want to do something in class, you can just do this and turn off the visuals on the screen, so they're focusing on you. We've also taken all the illustrations and animated them, so you can play the part B, which is the audio where they're hearing the words embedded. You can actually play that as a
We're having a
animation
party
like this.
today. There are lots of people at my house. They have a lot of different jobs. Emma is talking to a woman. She's a doctor. My mom and dad are talking to Mr. Smith. He is a
You can
pilot.
also turn on captions.
Oh,
so
this is Mike.
the students
There are
can
lots
actually
of
see
people at my house.
what is being said if
They have a
if
lot
their
of
listening is
different
not strong.
jobs. Emma is talking.
You can also do it as a reading activity. So we've tried to give lots of flexibility to teachers to use the material in different ways. You can also turn on, for this exposure activity, you can also turn on labels. So as the words are being mentioned,
Talking to a
they'll
woman.
be
She's
lit
a
up
doctor.
in like this in
My
the picture.
mom and dad are talking to Mr. Smith. He is a pilot.
C. Listen and point at the D.
Just wanted to show you.
Sing a
We also
song.
have the songs. So on the top of the second page, there's a song, and we have kind of this cute little animation for the song. The teachers can show all of the lyrics on the interactive whiteboard, or they can do it like a kind of a sing-along like this.
We like to work. Jobs are good. Tell me,
It's kind of
tell
like
me.
karaoke style. I'm just checking for questions. Yeah, I don't see any new questions.
E. Look at the picture.
One other
and
neat thing
say.
is, hold on, I'll show you an
B.
example. Here we go.
Point to the people.
So
Ask and answer.
for some of the activities where there's a dialogue, students can actually see all of the possible answers and all of the possible questions, and we actually have audio for each one. So like this.
What does he do?
What does he do?
He's a doctor.
And for all of the activities, there's also the answer key built in, and students can actually come up to the board and enter the answers themselves on the computer, and then you can check them like this.
A. Listen.
For the comic books, we actually animated those as well, so that you can watch them just like a video.
Your parents are nice. What do they
And
do?
again, you can add captions.
My mom is a florist.
You
My
can
dad
actually
is
add a script as well, so they can do it like a reading activity. And for the role play,
B.
one thing we did was we made the role play. I think this is very, very interesting. So you can actually choose one of the characters. So the student can choose which character they want to act out, and they can select it. And then what it does is it gives you only the sound of the
Your
other characters
parents are nice. What do they do?
dialogue. So they can actually act as one of the members. And what I usually do for students when they're
Where
doing
do
this is
they
I get them to make the voice. They really like this. So they make a funny voice and act like the character in the story.
What?
C. B.
I just wanted to show you
D.
one more
A.
thing.
Listen
So
and
for
read.
the CLIL readings, instead of making it just a reading, we actually did it sort of like a mini movie as well. So
Where do
the first time you
vegetables come
play,
from?
usually what I do is the first time I
This
play it
is
through,
Lee.
I just do it with
He's a
only
farmer.
sound and pictures. So in this case, they're learning all about people's jobs. This man grows the vegetables. He's a farmer. Somebody else delivers them to the store. Somebody else sells them in the store. So they can just watch the video and learn the information this way, in a very relaxed way. And then the second time through, then we can do it as a reading. So you can play the same. You can play them
Lee.
sort of sentence by
He's
sentence.
a farmer.
And you can
He
get the
works
students
on
to
a
repeat each
vegetable
sentence
farm in
orally,
California. Lee
and then you
loves
can show them the whole reading as well.
B.
So that's,
C.
I think, a very useful tool for your classes, and I think
answer the questions.
we've got a lot of positive feedback on the IWB for this book. Okay. So if you're interested in getting more information about Hangout, you can actually go scan the QR code that is here on the screen. Just scan it with your phone, and it'll take you directly to our website where you can see more information about the book. If you search on the website for an individual level, you can actually download view a sample unit from each level to see what the different levels are like. Maybe you're somebody who teaches upper level students. Today I showed you mostly the lower level material, so you might be interested in seeing the higher level material as well. So our website is compasspub.com, and if you go /hangout, then it'll take you right to the page that you need. Just let me grab a drink here. My voice is getting a little raggedy. So I wanted to talk a little bit about our digital products that come along with Hangout. The reason is these days, I don't know how bad things are in your part of the world, but in our part of the world, in Korea, all of the schools are closed and students are all studying online. So this can pose some big problems, some big challenges for teachers because this is something new they've never done before. So our digital products are meant to help you teach online and give you some tools to teach your students and to make it more interesting and engaging. So the first one is called Classbox. Basically, it's an easy-to-use teaching platform for teachers of English. It's specifically for teachers of English. And you can use it in the classroom to sort of like a simpler IWB, or you can use it for remote teaching. All you have to do is do a screen share. So it basically has 4 parts. There's a digital books library. There's an LMS, which is a learning management system. And there are suggested programs. And there's also seminars, professional development seminars that you can watch. So the digital books library is actually over 100 courses that range from kindergarten to adult. Those can be used individually, or you can actually buy a membership for a subscription to our service, and you can get the whole library to use for 1 year. That also gives you access to over 1,000 digital streaming textbooks, And you can search them by individual skill, like speaking, reading, writing books, or by CEFR level, so they're arranged by level as well. And all of them include embedded media. The audio is embedded right in the book. Some of them also include links to videos as well. And all of the answer keys built in and annotation tools as well. Mimuni is asking, I'm still wondering about writing skills. Yeah, what we did for that was we started with very simple sentences in the lowest levels, and we give them also some sentence starters, so they don't actually have to write the full sentence, they just have to usually complete the sentence with their own information. So at the low levels, we give them a lot of scaffolding to help them with this kind of task. At the higher levels, we take that away because we think they've already got enough language skills to write at a basic level. We also have, on the same platform, we have over 10,000 downloadable supplementary resources. So each unit of each book has its own downloadable material, and that's all centralized in one place for you to easily access it. So this is a platform where you can get all of your resources in one place. So I'll just show you very quickly what it looks like here, and then I'll try to show it to you, show you the actual site. So this is what the library looks like. So if you have a subscription for all of the books, they'll all be listed here, and you can search. You can see the search bar at the top. You can search by skill level, or by language level, or also by educational level. This is just to show you what the interface looks like. There's all kinds of tools that you can use for marking up. You can do highlighting, you can mark up with pen. You can also embed links to other sites or to videos that you want to show. And all of the audio is embedded, and you can also show the answers as well. If you click over here on downloads, you can actually see all of the additional downloads that are available for that particular unit. Things like the word list, the transcripts, the tests, the answer key, vocabulary practice activities, worksheets. There's also a simple LMS, Learning Management System. So this allows you to manage classes, also to assign homework and view reports on your students' progress and on their interaction with the homework. So we've integrated this with our student learning app called Big Box. And the way that you can link them together is by giving students your class code. So you can create a class on the learning management system, and then you get a class code, and that you give that to your students, and that links them to your Classbox. Then that allows you to assign homework. So for example, if you did Unit 9 in the book, then you could either assign that as a way to preview the content, or as a way for students to review or do it at home. And this allows you to track the participation and performance of your students. So here's just a simple screenshot of the LMS. So this shows you how you can create a class, and you can create and send homework to your students. And what they're going to see on their phone is they're going to see that you have sent them a notification for a kind of a quest within the app. Mimuni asks, is Classbox free or not? If you purchase the books, then it's included, but to get the whole library of materials, there's a fee as well. So after your students do their homework, it's going to show up in the LMS to show you how how they've done on each activity. So you can see how long things have taken them. So for example, Nanny took 23 seconds to do the word flash activity, and she got 0 points on the quiz. So maybe I want to talk to her about how she did or how she's doing on her homework. The third part of Classbox is the program recommendations. So this is these are recommendations from our catalog of content. So for example, if you are using a course book like Hangout, it also recommends other books that you might want to use with your students to build their specific language skills, like their reading skills, their writing skills, if they're having trouble with phonics. So these are aligned with the CEFR level of the book that you're using, but it's giving you additional options for strengthening their language skills. So for example, if you're using Hangout 2, like the case here, it's going to recommend a writing book that is at the same level, a reading book, additional course book that might be a little bit more practice for them on the same topics, grammar building, and vocabulary building books. We also have a library of professional development content and teacher training videos. So these are pre-recorded, but we also offer live streaming content as well, like we're doing right now. And those are usually two to 4 per month. So there's lots of different topics to choose from, and if you want to spend half an hour or 1 hour watching a video to get some new ideas to use in your classroom, all of the content is there. So this is a tool for you to stream your lessons remotely with ease. We made it as easy to use as possible, and it's something that has all the features that you need, but it's not too complicated. So you can use this, as I mentioned, you can use it in class, or you can use it also remotely if you're teaching through Zoom. So if you're interested in more information about Classbox, you can go to the Classbox site. It's classboxenglish.com, or you can scan the QR code here and you can see it on your phone. I'm going to try to show you the site. My internet connection was not working very well before, so I'm taking a bit of a risk, but anyway, I've already shown you some screenshots, so let's try. Okay, so here's the Classbox site, and if I go to the digital books library here, then I can see I have a subscription for all of the books, so it shows me all the whole library of books. But if I search for Hangout, oops, I can get Hangout, the book. So you can see all of the audio is built in.
B. Look and listen.
You can also zoom in to show specific parts of the page. You can click over here to show all of the downloads that are available. So you can download all the MP3s to your computer if you want to use them separately, offline. There's also word lists, transcripts, syllabus, answer key, vocabulary practice, worksheets, and all of the tests are all here centralized for you to download. You can also stream the audio separately, so if you wanted to do just a pure listening activity, you could stream it here. Or you can use this interface to do teaching online as well, teaching remotely. So here's the LMS. So for the LMS, you can create additional classes. You can go to class and you can add the class. Once you've created a new class, you can just give your students this code, and what that's going to allow them to do is in their Big Box app, which I'm going to show you next, they can enter that code and that links their Big Box app with the LMS. So then you can assign homework here. You can see all the reports about the students here as well. I guess my internet connection is not working that well. So for example, if I wanted to make a new homework assignment, this is where I would do that. And then if I wanted to see reports about my students, I could see them here. So how each of them are doing. I could also add additional students or see reports on individual students. So here I can see reports on how the student has done on their homework. Unfortunately, this student hasn't done any homework, very bad student. This is the program section. So I mentioned if you're teaching Hangout, so for example, if we go to Hangout, so grade 2 Hangout book, it shows you all the books that you can use with this. And if you have the subscription to Classbox, you can actually use that material in class. So if you wanted to do an extra class on writing, that material is here for you to use. So it's like having a whole library of hundreds of books that you can pull from to create your classes. So I think it's a very useful tool. And then, as I mentioned, there's the online seminars. So there's all kinds of topics. We have topics on scaffolding, on teaching reading, teaching young learners. There's lots of different material to look at. So that's a little bit about Classbox. I just wanted to finish up today by showing you very quickly about Big Box. Oops. So Big Box is our learning application for students, and it's available on iOS, on Android, and also we have a PC version as well. So it's an English learning application, and it's aimed at younger learners. This is perfect for students that are learning Hangout. It's the exact perfect age for them. It allows them to have personalized content that suits their interests and their own abilities. And it's kind of gamified language learning. It turns language learning and homework into a fun game for them to play. So when we talk about content curation, what we mean is there's a library of over 11,000 videos that we've curated from different sites. And there's also a library of playbooks. Playbooks are like ebooks, but they play automatically, and there's audio automatically embedded. So what they do is when they first open the app, it asks them when were they born, and what's their gender, and what are some of their interests. Are they interested in sports? Are they interested in art, music? So it uses that information, their age, their gender, and their interests to kind of curate automatically. We have an algorithm that automatically curates content. So they're going to see sort of like a Netflix carousel that they can scroll through and choose videos that they're interested in. So after watching the videos, they can rate them. They can say whether they like them or they don't like them. Is it too hard, too easy? That information is also going to go to the recommendation algorithm. So it recommends videos that are more suitable for their level and their interests. After they watch the video, they're presented with word cards. So what we did was we took the scripts from the videos and we ran them through our analyzer and chose level appropriate words to present the students with. So at-level words from the content are presented after the video or after the playbook. And in order to get the cards, they actually have to say the words. So there's voice recognition technology built into the app. So they say the word, and then they're awarded with that card, and they build up a collection of the cards. They collect the cards, and then they level them up. They go from C level, B level, A level, and then S and SS level. And then, so as they graduate those cards, as they level them up, they can use the points that they earn to do things in the app. Once they've got some words, they've collected some word cards, and they've leveled them up by playing different games with them, they can actually enter the quiz show. The quiz show is where they test their knowledge against other players. So right now, we are just using AI players. We're not using actual players. But in the future, we hope to make it multiplayer as well. So they go through a 4-round competition against AI players, and they earn points that they can use to buy costumes, cute hair or cute glasses or clothes for their avatar in the game. They each have a character that they're playing in the game. There's also part of the game called Expression Forest. So they've learned some words, and once they learn a collection of words, we use those to within the context of expressions. So usually these are little dialogue pairs, and they can use them to practice speaking, to practice their grammar as well. So learners are presented with expressions using the words that they've learned, and they use the expressions to solve 3 puzzles and catch the word thief. So the story of this app is that you're trying to collect word cards, and this word thief is running around taking cards. So you have to steal them back, get them back from him. So we also have activities in this part of the app that also use voice recognition, so they can say the expressions. Mimuni asks, with 9 units, can it be covered according to the limit hours, 1 hour per week for English in Morocco? Yeah, I think this is a very flexible program. I think 1 unit could be, you could teach with all of the different activities that are available on the IWB and the workbook. You could extend 1 2-page spread to a 1-hour class, actually. Or you can split. What I've done with learners before is teach about half a unit in 1 hour. That's just using the book itself. So it's a very flexible program. Another part of the Big Box app is Reading Oceans. It's a library of around 1,000 graded ebook readers. So students can find any content that they're interested in. There's nonfiction and fiction as well, on a wide range of topics. And it runs from phonics decodable books, very, very simple books, all the way up to upper intermediate books that are much longer, that don't have many pictures. So quite a wide range of level. There's also embedded audio, and all the books have activities as well at the back of the books, so they can do comprehension activities. And they can be streamed on any device. As I mentioned, mobile devices, both Android and iOS, and also on PC. Another element is this class booster. This is where they're going to get the notifications when you send them homework. So if you send them homework from Classbox using the class code, you've linked them with your Classbox account, then you can send them homework, and this is where it's going to show up. So you can use it for flipped learning. You can get them to preview content maybe 1 or 2 days before class, or you can use it for previewing or reviewing the content. And they receive some kind of quest notification in their app, and when they do their homework, they get coins that they can use in the app to, again, customize their avatar or buy things. So this is a way to gamify homework. So these are some of the activities that you would see in the Class Booster section. So things like matching activities, unscrambling activities, so they're given a sentence and they have to unscramble it. Some comprehension activities or fill in the blank activities. There's lots of different ones. This is not from Hangout, this is from another book, but it's similar kind of content. Okay, so we have the videos, we have the quiz show, expression forest, reading oceans playbooks, and Class Booster that they would use to do homework from your classes. So that's all about Big Box. If you want to actually install the app and try it out yourself, you can scan the QR code. That's going to take you to either the Android Play Store, Google Play Store, or the Apple App Store. Or you can go to those stores and search for Big Box on your own. Anyway, so we talked all about Classbox and Big Box as digital solutions, and we talked about Hangout and the features of Hangout. So if you're interested in these products, I encourage you to look at the websites where you can get more information. And I hope you found this very useful and informative, and I hope to see you again in a later seminar. Thank you very much.